You ready, Jamie?
We're ready. Let's go. You're a private investigator. Please tell me more about that before we kick off this. That is fascinating to me.
Oh, well, let's talk about that at the end.
Okay,
Let's
sure, sure,
first
sure.
talk about I'm beginning to see the light.
Let's do
How
it.
much of Sarah is there in you, the human being?
Gosh, I mean, like becoming a mother. This was in 2023. I was just a mom. And, it was kind of really close to like coming out of COVID and the
Yeah,
strike, the worry of whether or not I'm gonna be able to pay bills, being an actor or an artist and supporting and also having a partner in real life that's also an artist,
yeah,
that it's you're constantly fighting, because it's this push and pull of like you love the art, but and also you need to do what you need to do to pay the bills. And so I brought a lot of that into the character and how she's tired, but she loves her family and brings her joy, but this kind of burden of having to like carry everything while you support your partner who is a true talent, a musical talent. Like it's exhausting, and I think it finally gets to her, and I think in that moment you kind of saw it because she's really concerned and worried about how she's going to pay the bills that are coming up at the end of the month.
yeah.
But seeing her daughter light up and watching your husband play the trumpet and the crowd light up, like you can see why it brings you so much joy. And so she kind of melts, they kind of melts that anger and stress away. And it's quite sad because they have a beautiful moment watching their daughter sleep in the car, and then they pass away. So it's really tragic, and I think it's a stark reminder of how, you know, things can just slip through your fingers and things can change instantly, and like what can you do to enjoy this moment? How can you look at the positives? Yeah.
Sure. Well, another unique thing about the film is the director, uh,
Yeah.
breakthrough for the U.S. How did you know?
Constantine. I mean,
How do you know this was going to be a good fit? Because a lot of people on paper would go, "Oh, that's risky," but
yeah. Well,
clearly
they
he put the
often
work
send
in.
like they often send a little portfolio of past works. The writing itself, like it was just, you know, it's so much about grief, but finding new beginnings, how you deal with grief,
Sure.
how you find that beacon of light, how you start over after a terrible calamity and tragedy. I feel like humans are so resilient, and I really think it's in the writing there because it's a lot of characters who are trying to find themselves and climb out of this hole. And so I knew, first of all, that Abby Cornish and Jack Houston were part of this project, and so I
Right.
knew that they were going to elevate this piece to the next level because they're fantastic actors. And I've worked with Abby on Sucker Punch. I was like, and she's a close friend of mine, so I was like, if you're doing it, I'm definitely doing it. You know. And so yeah, it was really fun to bring this role to life because I'd just become a new mom when I started filming this, and kind of the stress and the realization and this newfound tiredness that I've never experienced. um it really gets you, like, the stress of having to raise the family and constantly putting everyone else before yourself, and having to find this balance. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece.
So, question in a different direction. The first time I had the pleasure of interviewing you, it was in the Petco Together Strong era
Oh my
of your
God.
career. But
Yeah.
around the time you were pushing your blog, What the Chung, are we
Yeah.
going to see that come back, or did family life kind of sink that one?
No, I mean, that's certainly on the back burner. That was a really fun project to do in between jobs because I believe I was working on The Gifted. Wow,
Yeah.
that escaped for a second. Um, The Gifted, and so it was fun, kind of fun to do the travel blogs, and like that was when, on a drop of a dime, you're like, oh, this opportunity came up. Would you like to go to Italy? Like, I'm totally there. Or yeah, I saved up money to like take this quick trip. Like, let's go. Before children. Do you have children?
We do not, but we
Okay.
are the children and we treat them and give gifts to everyone else's, if that makes
I
sense.
that you're the fun uncle.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
love that.
That's
I
yeah.
would love to be the fun aunt. But it's totally life-changing. And so it
Yeah.
didn't it didn't serve it was a great creative outlet for the time in between jobs. And now that I've found that I love it's all about rediscovery, right? And how you grow and evolve as a person, which is very similar to the theme of this film. I find that joy that I had of creating and imaginative play, whether it's
Yeah.
dressing up through my kids. And so seeing like their perspective of how they take in the world and what they retain and what they see, and like at the age of 3, like seeing their little imaginations come to life, that brings me so much joy. That's kind of certainly replaced the blog life.
Yeah, and it's been interesting to see how your career has evolved, where initially it was just on camera, and then
Yeah.
you became very much a successful person for voiceovers for anime and
Thank
video
you.
games and all that.
Yeah.
When did you kind of realize that, hey, I have a voice that people wouldn't mind hearing?
Oh God, I hate the sound of my own voice when it comes to videos. But I think it was I was given a great opportunity by John Lannister for Big Hero 6. Did I say that right? Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Morning. And so it was a great opportunity. And so when we did the series, Big Hero 6, the series, I realized that my vocal range was quite limited. And so I was like, well, this is a huge because I never went to theater school. My husband went to NYU. I went
Yeah.
to school for economics and business. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just realized like what a great tool that we have that I'm not, fully like being able to use or know how to use, like whether it's using my head voice or using something, so I decided to take vocal lessons during the strikes. And so I was like, okay, this is great. It's part of my toolbox. I'm learning. So I really took advantage of that
Well, it's
time.
great to see that you're steadily working. Brian, I got him on an Emperor of Ocean
Of
Park
Ocean
jumping, et
Park,
cetera.
yeah.
But back to you right here. Did you have a question or two about investigations? Is there
What
somebody I
is
have to
up?
look
Because
up for you?
because I just played this. There's a new film coming out as well. It's called Stone Cold Fox, and it's directed by Sophie Tabbitt. It's fucking some Kiefer Sutherland, Karen Sheepka, Kristen Ritter, like sick cast. But I got to play a detective, and so I'm
Hmm.
reading all these books and just being a PI, like the specificity to details, finding a trace. How like 20 years? How fascinating!
Oh, I was an entertainment person that found his way into that. But did you learn about skip traces and that kind of stuff
No.
as part of the job?
No, skip traces. So how you've been personal? No, because the character that I played was a detective in the 80s. So no, not skip training. So cool.
So you were doing more surveillance kind of prep work?
Oh, I was doing more police detective work.
So
Like how to,
sitting
yeah.
in a car all day.
Well, no, just like canvassing the questions you have to ask, right? Blocking off a scene. It's just also it's a lot of on instinct and good policing and trying not to be, you know, what is it called? Oh, my brain's not working. When you're just honing on one suspect, like
Yeah.
really playing all the cards, yeah. But like give me one example. Like who would hire you for private investigating? Is it usually for cheating?
Oh, that is the lowest bottom feeder, worst stuff that you'd ever
Okay, good to
do.
know.
Yeah, they pay you the worst. They're
Okay.
always going to scrutinize your work. Why didn't you tell me there's this? And you go, none of this would ever hold up in a court. None of this,
Oh,
there's no civil action, etc.
yeah.
That's garbage. The high end stuff, the government contractor kind of stuff, or the high net worth stuff, that's it's a mixed bag. I mean, it's a lot of money, but you can have easy clients, tough clients. A person a
Yeah.
couple days ago went, I want to know if these people we're going into business with, are they clean? What kind of
Oh,
holdings do they have? And
interesting.
as a person who is on Succession, I think that you would get a sense for sometimes what people are fishing around for.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So tying that all up with your career before I let
Yeah.
you go, is that the next project, or do we just have to wait for Hollywood Reporter embargoes to lift and keep following your Instagram to know
No.
what's next?
No, that's so funny. Instagram's a powerful tool, when you're not locked out of the app. Anyways, no, Stone Cold Fox is next. What else did I shoot recently? God, you kind of forget. You just like live the day. Oh God, there's something else, and I will have to check my pro IMDb, which is another one that
So we'll just have
but
to link to that to find out. But the
yeah,
bottom
I'm
line
sorry. No,
is,
but Stone Cold Fox is coming out either later this year, hopefully making the circuits, or the indie circuits are next year. And that's one
oh,
that I'm so proud of. And again, it's like shoestring budget, just like I'm beginning to see the light,
sure.
but really like stretching that budget out and having a great TP is so clutch, just like Maz was on this film. You know, everything looks like $1 million. Every shot looks like $1 million. So Yeah.
I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to seeing your investigations training in action with all that, the future projects, and congrats to still being the reigning most successful real world alumnus ever.
Thank you. Thank you. I still beg to differ. I do think it's the Miz.
Paltrocast.